QE3 confirmed last week by Ben Bernanke, indirectly by the President of the United States, Barack Obama, confirms the end of American civilization, confirms the end of our financial situation here in the United States of America. It doesn't predict the collapse of the United States, our economic system, or global capital markets. It confirms it. This is the end of America. Now remember, our organization, AMTV, Greenwave, myself, predicted that with the advent and the start of QE1, that quantitative easing would never stop. We'd get QE2, which we did. We'd get Operation Twist, which is really QE3. So technically, this is QE4 that Ben Bernanke announced last week, buying $40 billion plus more of mortgage-backed securities and anything else that they need to buy because America doesn't have a buyer for any of these assets anymore. The rest of the world is shunning the assets of the United States, running away for dear life, running away from the Treasury bond market, etc. So we're going to see this continue. This never ends. This is quantitative easing into infinity. Now remember, Operation Twist, they just changed the name. What they're doing with Operation Twist is buying long-dated maturities, long-dated securities, and selling short-dated maturities as a way to keep interest rates at these historic lows. Now, interest rate policy, according to Ben Bernanke, won't even change. They won't even think about it till 2015, so just times that by 2. Give it maybe another 10, 15, 20 years. Now, why am I bringing up the economy and economic conditions? Well, all of the rhetoric, and I did a very important breaking video yesterday coming off the heels of Benjamin Netanyahu's speech, which was telegraphing the attack on Iran, another story, another major geopolitical event that we've been forecasting for years now, since the beginning of this channel, since I left Merrill Lynch as a broker and had the crazy idea of becoming a professional YouTuber, or whatever that is. But it's important that we don't forget about what's happening economically, because the economy directly ties into the motive for these geopolitical events. Now, the United States, because we've run out of options, because we have no buyers left, because we have enormous debt and we're not doing anything to address it, the only thing that we're doing is growing big government even larger, assuring the fact that we can never pay for any of this. This all ties in together with the bigger picture. What this means, I always say follow the money. Follow the cash. What this means is the United States has no other option but to support an Israeli strike against Iran, but to continue the destabilization efforts in the Middle East, which is exactly why I was able, this regular guy, this former Merrill Lynch broker, was able to predict that the Middle East conflict would only accelerate in the near term and be used as a smokescreen to cover up this enormous debt problem and all of these economic problems that we've had that have resulted in the greatest collapse in the history of man. I would argue worse than what we experienced during the 1930s Great Depression, because you always follow the money, always follow the economy. I mean, look at the economy today. Is the real economy any better than it was 5 years ago? Of course not. Of course we're not any better. And the only way that they can provide a smokescreen and provide a mask for what's really going on, this problem that you'll notice the mainstream media is completely ignoring right now. All of the focus shifted to what's happening geopolitically, shifted to the rhetoric coming from Benjamin Netanyahu, shifted to the threat of a nuclear-armed Iran, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the embassies, the fact that Christopher Stevens was killed and the American people are outraged, this film, this propaganda piece that many suspect. People like Webster Tarpley was a propaganda-based film instituted by the Mormon CIA, something you should look up and investigate for yourself. This is all interrelated. And we have to understand that the economic collapse here in the United States of America is the reason for the war. It's exactly why we're moving to war. I mean, just look at history. This is the reason for pretty much every major conflict that we've ever experienced in our history, ever. It's always about profiting off these engagements, profiting from the distress of your civilization or the civilizations that you're conquering. This is the United States imperializing the rest of the world. And because we can't pay back our bad debt, we're going to take it out on the Middle East. We're going to take it out on Iraq. We're going to take it out on Afghanistan, Al-Qaeda, the same terrorist organizations that we funded, created, and have continued to support in the first place. We're going to play a blame game before any politician, Republican or Democrat, lays any responsibility for having any kind of influence or responsibility for what's happened economically here in the good old USA, which we are all suffering at the hands of, which we, the people that supposedly employ the president and employ Congress and employ the Senate, are supposed to represent us. We're the ones that have to face the chaos, have to face the trouble, and have to face the ice-cold reality of an economy that is completely deteriorated. And what does this mean? Well, we listen to people like Jim Rogers. We listen to these famous investors. We listen to the Peter Schiffs of the world, people that we've interviewed. What these people are saying is the truth. It is reality. Quantitative easing into infinity not only assures a further escalation with these wars and a furthering of the conflict in the Middle East and countries like Iran, but it assures inflation, price inflation. We're seeing new lows on the U.S. dollar. This is going to push commodities higher. Iran came out over the weekend, so we should have at least $150 a barrel oil. Imagine $10 a gas at the pump. All of this is a result of the dollar policies. Let me rephrase that. The failed dollar policies here in the United States, stemming from the privately owned and run Federal Reserve, stemming from people like Ben Bernanke and Alan Greenspan. You notice how past presidents like Bill Clinton love to pat themselves on the back, say that they were part of, the largest growth and expansion in American history. Yeah, it led up to also the greatest collapse that we'd ever experienced because you helped propel and blow the biggest bubble that we ever had in the history of America. And it's exactly what's happening now. So follow the money, watch what's happening economically, watch and dig into the details, dig into why gold is soon to be, in my opinion, priced at $2,000 an ounce. I think it could go much higher. I think we could see $5,000 an ounce in gold. Why silver is moving higher. Now, of course, this is speculation. I don't have a crystal ball. All I know is that printing money into infinity ultimately destroys the dollars, and it creates price inflation in commodities. It creates price inflation in the cost of goods, the cost of doing business, the cost of living, the cost of being an American. And we've run out of options. We're also seeing tensions escalate geopolitically with China and Japan arguing over a set of islands right now. It's kind of interesting. It's almost like arguing over our Hawaiian Islands as we did with the Japanese and Honolulu as strategic military points. Now we're seeing this happen with China and Japan, which the United States, obviously Japan is our ally. China is not a friend. We're seeing them bicker with the rising superpower that is known as the East, that is known as China. So all of this is happening in real time, and really the entire planet is in sheer chaos, not just economically, but geopolitically. And that's what makes this election so important. That's what makes the Mitt Romney and the Obama election this year so important. Now, of course, we realize that there is a power structure behind these individuals that are helping and pushing these people to manifest the game plan that they've already had all along, that they've been putting into practice for decades now. But this will very much and very likely lay the foundation for the future of America. Where do we go from here? I'm reading Andrew Breitbart's, I'm rereading it, Righteous Indignation. I love that book. It's pretty much a blueprint for the new media and how everything that we're doing with technology now, the fact that our weapons are cameras, and that we can record everything and that we can live stream everything now is really the biggest weapon that we have against the leftist-run institutional media, the Obama-backed media that continues to aim to destroy any kind of opposition. Now, we saw this with Matt Drudge. A lot of people don't know that Matt Drudge broke the Monica Lewinsky story, and they ridiculed him. They went right after him, attacked everything that he was, said that he was a liar, said that he was a fake, said that this information wasn't real. See how the new media is now taking over and for all intensive purposes, really running over the old establishment, running over the machine. And that is the capability that we have now, is to spread and share the truth with millions of people and shed light to what's really happening around the globe. So watch QE3, watch QE4, QE5, QE6, QE7, but ultimately watch the war that is right on the horizon. And we're going to get that October surprise. Now, whether or not it comes in the form of the physical attack like we're all expecting, all the rhetoric that's been built around it, we're going to get a surprise. And we're going to get the manifestation of an escalating crisis in that region, in the Middle East, and specifically with Iran. Don't forget about Syria. Don't forget about that 18-month led revolution that's being supported by the United States as we speak, and Bashar al-Assad. That's a threat. We might see that escalate in coordination with what's happening in Iran and in coordination with the effort and the intentions that clearly Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel and the United States have pushing this engagement and pushing this war on the people of the world. I'm Christopher Green. You've been watching Green Wave TV, alternative media television, and I just deliver the Daily Wave. Hard hitting and in your face, America.